Hi, friends, and welcome to Talking with Fat People. I'm host Eric. This is my delightful life partner, Rachel.
Hi.
And together we're enjoying a cold brewski on a hot winter's day in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
With Heineken Zero.
It's delish. And it really is a hot day. It's like it's supposed to be in the 80s. And it's supposed to be in the 80s for my birthday, too.
Which is 2 days from now, right?
Yep. So, I'm kind of excited about that.
That's on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Saturday birthday.
Yeah. This year I do.
So, this morning, Rachel and I watched the new episode of season 2 of Dr. Stone, which was pretty good. And I continued playing this game I've been playing lately, which is random Crunchyroll anime, to see what's out there. There are some strange shows out there.
Yeah, there are.
And the one we were just watching is pretty damn good, frankly. It's called Extra Olympia Kyklos.
And Kyklos is an actual Greek word.
Yeah, it's this anime takes place 19 years after VJ Day. I've got real at the end. Huh. Interesting.
What's VJ Day?
Victory over Japan Day, I guess.
Oh.
The day that Japan surrendered in World War II. And the thing is, you can really see World War II's impact on Japanese culture in general.
Yeah.
This, they've got especially a strange relationship with, I guess you'd say, Germany and the Germans, and their representation of Westerners and stuff is interesting.
It is.
Attack on Titan.
I was just thinking about
Redundant title is redundantly redundant. Strange Japanese things. Not all Japanese things are not strange.
Actually, there's a lot of Japanese stuff that's traditional.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, it's weird the way that their culture integrates a bunch of different elements that are, like, for example, there's a lot of anime that there, I got that thing. There's a lot of anime that makes it takes special care to show you the era on which period, Japanese period it was, whether it's the Meiji period or the whatever period or something like that. I never
noticed that.
Yeah, like, because of the confluence of retaining old culture stuff and adding new culture stuff, a lot of times they'll like show a plane flying overhead in the sky as like a placement shot just to remind you what era you're in.
Oh.
And in this Kyklos one, this guy's traveling from ancient Greece to 1964 Japan.
I think that's so specific.
Right.
But then
it's basically this comedy thing about ancient Greek, specifically about the Olympics and all the ridiculous sports they had and stuff in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Stone, it kind of has a dual effect of educating while entertaining.
Yeah.
Dr. Stone is very educational.
Very educational.
If you want to learn about sciencey stuff,
This is like if you want to learn about Greek culture, you can watch the show because
Ancient Greek culture,
a lot of it, they do like to draw and paint and, that whole like manliness thing is totally a part of their culture. And they say that everything, that whole episode where like everything was, he couldn't find anything that what the Greeks didn't have.
Right.
Like that's what the Greeks always do. They're like, oh, what was invented? We invented the alphabet. Blah 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 blah. Oh, that's Greek. Oh, that's Greek. That's like a stereotype.
Ancient Greece is like the P. Diddy already did it of inventions.
Yeah.
Diddy didn't do it.
They're very.
The thing that I noted about the World War II influence is that they're still telling a central story of essentially pacifist story that is about how militarism run amok backfires on you. It's sort of an underlying frame in a lot of their shit. Also, nuclear explosions or the equivalent thereof are in like every single anime.
Yeah. I thought
it's like a recurring national nightmare.
Yeah, honestly, like when you first noted it, I was like, huh. I didn't notice. And then after you said it, I was like, oh my gosh. Seriously, like every single show that we watched had some sort of explosion, like an atom bomb explosion.
Attack on Titan is kind of like a weird way to recast Japan as somehow like the Jews in World War II or something.
Yeah.
That's
how I take it.
Because it's like the island nation that has been isolated from. It's like, what if Japan stayed isolated, but was filled with Jews, and World War II happened? It's a weird plot line. But then, like, they're talking about some strange anime shit. There's this show that I found by clicking the random thing that is about a guy who finds a merman, like a beautiful blonde merman, who is on the side of the river, and he takes him home with him, and then the merman starts living in the guy's bathtub, and the whole show just exists. It's just them sitting in the bathroom talking about stuff like, "Hey, you're using too much hot water." It's like, what in the world is this?
And then there's another one that we stumbled upon as about two friends who. One of the friends is going to be like kissing and
oh yeah, the lesbian.
Yeah, so they're
it's
practicing on each other.
Right. It's called. I forget what it was called, but
can we do the move that they do where they hold the hands up together and then they push their boobs together?
that's like the picture of the title.
Yeah, it is. It's very graphic.
Hyperspace, if you're saying, whoa, Winston's mom is a mod now.
Where have you been?
He must have been gone for a long time.
No offense, Hyperspace.
There's also this one that's called I Don't Understand What My Husband Says or something.
Oh yeah, that is such a weird one.
And it's basically like a bunch of inside anime jokes, kind of like there are things called otakus, which are young people who are super into anime, I guess, in Japan. And it's like that show is an otaku marries a normal person who then tries to learn like
yes
what he's all about.
Yeah, and she learns the way of anime through him, and it stuns her.
Yeah.
Hey, Octavia Silva.
Hi, Octavia Silva.
And it ends with her in the bathtub, right? Or she. Yeah, like.
I mean,
it's weird.
It's a strange little sort of slice of life show.
Yeah, it's like supposed to like show you how like miscommunication can happen, but it's so like on the nose.
I decided I'm gonna put on some pants.
Oh, how lucky for the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Broccoli Todd.
Hi, Broccoli Todd. I hope you didn't bring broccoli again. I told you everyone's sick of broccoli.
Beggars can't be choosers. We didn't beg though.
Hmm?
I was gonna say beggars can't be choosers, but
We didn't beg for broccoli.
we didn't beg.
We didn't beg for broccoli. There.
Yeah, afternoon. I did it this afternoon.
My absolute favorite of all the anime that I've seen is Fire Force.
Yeah.
That's, in my opinion, the best one.
It's so good.
But there were other ones I liked a lot too. But
I like the characters in it.
the thing is,
I like Twin Exorcist too.
Twin Star Exorcist was good.
Yeah.
That was a sweet story, a sweet love story.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. It was nice to have like that in anime.
Step 2, Winston's mom, throw away your microwave, get a new one. It's not worth trying to fix. They're not that expensive.
Who likes microwaves? It seems the Japanese, actually.
These trousers aren't plaid. Oh, you mean my under trousers?
Under trousers, yes.
Have I seen Kill la Kill or Kaiyuke no Kanata? No, I haven't.
No.
I'll check see if it's on the Crunchyroll. Where is this in here? Paste. Enter.
Cool.
Kill la Kill. It's only got like 4.3 average stars. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you've recommended me such a poorly scoring anime, Octavia Silva. I'm beginning to doubt your anime cred, your legitimacy of your anime cred. But who knows? Maybe the voters are wrong here.
It's being added to queue.
I'm adding it to the queue. I'm adding it to the queue. Kill la Kill. You've been added. Congratulations. I've been into a lot of 2013 era anime lately, and those were really popular around then.
One we watched today was in 2012.
Don't worry, Octavia Silva. I'm just joking anyway. I don't actually have any doubts about your anime cred. The thing is, as I look into, sometimes I'll hear terms where they'll have some terms that aren't translated into English, like otaku. They don't translate that. They just say, well, you're an otaku. So I got to look that up. And there's another word that means like Westerner who's obsessed with Japanese culture that they use in a derogatory way. The thing is, I am not obsessed with Japanese culture in the sense that I don't think it's like, I don't want to be Japanese. I don't want to.
You want to be with a Japanese girl?
No, I don't want to be any part of that culture. Like, in the sense that weeaboos, right? In the sense that I find that culture, from an intellectual standpoint anyway, oppressively hierarchical.
We got to one night or one day watch Lost in Translation. I think you'll really like it. Shows a lot of that kind of stuff.
So the thing is, I think that, some of the implicit values and themes that come through a lot of anime are good, and some of them I very strongly suspect are awful, So
Yeah.
it's like I was watching this thing called Survival Game Club, and
Oh God.
this girl's starting her new school, and she's like, not really feeling today, but I gotta squeeze out some of those things, and then what it pointed to is an arrow pointing to the little like kind of like little side things that come out of her to make her look proper, like behaving like a proper girl is supposed to, right? And you get the sense that there's this constant policing of everybody about how what's expected of them, how they need to behave, like how they need to put the team first or the group first or the endeavor first or whatever.
My sister said that exactly. Actually, she said it was very like everyone tries to fit in. It's more group mentality. Hey, Lauren Cuthbert.
And the thing is, I don't personally. I'm not somebody who that flies with. It's like I prefer that all sort of team memberships, organizational memberships, and so forth be explicit and consensual, not implicit and unavoidable, which is how Japan seems to view those things.
They do. It's very much like that. My sister, especially in Tokyo, because there's so many people. And then, like, when she was in Japan, she visited, I think, like 4 or 5 places because it's very easy to travel around because they have a very modern metro system and it's fast, but she said it's very, like, packed. But anyway, she liked Kyoto because it's, like, more traditional. And she also went to the home of, like, where karate was. But she said that in Tokyo, that was the most people. But, like, in basically all the places, you followed the rules.
Hi, H. Yeah, that's what I was saying basically too about microwaves. Winston's mom, they're cheap. You get them at Costco for $50 or something for a
oh my gosh,
one, it's like,
Costco's the place to like buy those kind of things for sure. You get a good one like for a deal.
You can get one at Walmart cheap too, I'm sure.
Yeah, Walmart definitely.
So the thing is, they're one of those things that aren't worth repairing.
No. Okay. Air fryers are like all over the place now. I heard they're the new thing. Why? Everyone says that they're an easy bake oven. Basically. Like, what can you make in them? Do you know?
Fried air. Deep fried air.
Deep fried air.
It takes regular air.
Yeah.
Which is obviously not very delicious.
No, it's not.
And it batters it with batter and it deep fries it in lard. Okay. The way to use an air fryer is to deep fry your air in lard.
So I have a question then. So if you cook everything except for eggs, you can like, because it makes me think of like cheese, like nacho chips with cheese on them. Does it do a good job of like melting the cheese? Because like, what's the point of it? I don't.
Because it's healthier or something.
Oh, it's
healthier. It's like less greasy or something. Thrift stores, right? Yeah, thrift stores. You get kitchenware at thrift stores for super cheap. It's a good point.
I wouldn't have even thought of that. Good point indeed.
You never put cheese in the air fryer? You should.
Yeah, so
You know what?
that's what
you know what I want
asked-
to try?
What?
I want to try a ball of Octavia Sella's famous air fried cottage cheese.
Ooh, air fried cottage cheese. I want to try that too.
You know, that's the next thing after deep fried pickles. They should have deep fried cottage cheese balls. I'd buy those.
I would.
I'd buy those in a
so
heartbeat.
good.
I've never seen that on any menu. You know, talk about an ingredient that's underutilized.
I don't think a lot of people like cottage cheese.
Right. I got 2 words for you. There's a couple of ingredients that are underutilized. One of them has 2 words. Those 2 words are cottage and cheese.
Excusez-moi.
You know what cottage cheese also is a great way to explain why we prefer terms of art to be defined as such rather than break them apart, which is a frequent, it doesn't work like that, Lubomir Cats. I have to be streaming in the software for that. For that to happen. I have no means of doing it via this easy way of streaming.
So Octavia Silva, frozen foods and crisps. So try a pizza, frozen pizza. I'm curious to see how it melts stuff.
Well, now I really want to deep fry some cottage cheese balls.
So do I.
You know what would be really good is deviled deep fried cottage cheese balls. So basically, you deep fry a cottage cheese ball, you cut it, you very gently slice along vertically, and then peel back the layer of breading, fried stuff. Then mix up the inside some more, and put it back.
Wow, that's an art.
Deviled deep fried cottage cheese balls, and in the center of them, you tuck a deviled grape.
Oh God. That sounds so intricate.
Deviled grapes enrobed in deviled deep fried cottage cheese balls.
Wow. Those are some ideas and words there.
DFCCB will become the new TCBY, the country's best yogurt. Used to be a company called TCBY, which is the country's best yogurt.
I didn't know that's what it stood for.
Yeah. Well, now there's going to be a company called DFCCB, deep fried cottage cheese balls. Deep fried cottage cheese. You need a cottage. See, plenty of people will deep fry cheese. No problem. That's well understood. Well appreciated.
Yeah.
But people, you can put 3-way ketchup on. That's one of the 3 ways you can use 3-way ketchup. You can put it on top of your deep fried cottage cheese balls. But you should, the thing is, deep fried ketchup is one of the featured products. I mean, 3-way ketchup is one of the featured products of more than just condiments. They store this next door to DFCCB. Or as it's called.
Their neighbors.
It's known by the use as Def Cub. They've made up their own name for the acronym, of course, DFCCB doesn't really sound like Def Cub. It sounds more like
yeah.
But the youths, you know how the youths are. Like they're the ones who turned Kentucky Fried Chicken into KFC. The youths. They started just abbreviating themselves, and all of a sudden it became
they use thought and put an A before it, but you can't really be that hoe over there.
Right. THOT.
Yeah.
There can't be a thought anymore, and there can be an ATM machine. You can't have an ATM machine because that's an automatic teller machine. There's 2 machines. That's one too many machines.
Hey, greetings, Listo.
They sell deep fried ice cream at the local Mexican restaurant. Yes, that's fairly well understood as well. It's difficult to do. Obviously, your ice cream's going to get a little melted when you put it in the deep fryer. But the thing is, specifically deep fried cottage cheese, I've never seen it before or heard anybody doing it before.
No, I haven't heard anyone do cottage cheese before, deep fried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people deep fry everything at the fair.
Yeah, like the deep fried butter. I want to try that sometime. I can't lie.
No, Ethan. I just whisper in your ear. You like fair food? I like chocolate covered bacon. It's one of the things that
Ooh, I've never had that.
It is weird.
Oh, that sounds really good.
The thing is, it's cold, so it's like they pull it out of a freezer or a refrigerator, where so the chocolate isn't melty.
We should try it.
It's good.
Make it our own.
Yeah, pretty good.
Mm.
Correct. Lupin Cats identified another one of these PIN number. PIN is a personal identification number. LCD display, right? Like a crystal display.
Yes.
An ATM machine is a device that goes to the ATM for you. I need an ATM machine. I do. London Fog. London Fog are a brand of trench coats that they had when I was a kid. I was very attracted to trench coats. I thought those were cool. Like when I was a teenager. There's nothing cooler than a trench coat. Of course, living in Los Angeles, there are very few days when you can legitimately wear a trench coat.
They are cool. I like trench coats. I've treated myself to a nice trench coat once in my life.
And that's the brand that was maker of trench coats back in the day.
London Fog?
London Fog.
Yeah.
Does the brand still exist?
Yep. It does. Can I pluck some juicers from your cheeks?
Sure.
Cool.
You know, I've also been very enamored of the notion of getting a smoking jacket, of having a jacket that's just for smoking.
Oh,
I like that idea a lot. I've never had one, but
I like the idea of you having a smoking jacket too. I think you look very dapper.
RAS syndrome, redundant acronym syndrome. Well, you know, there used to be a college. They changed their name because people made fun of their name. It was called like the Maryland University College of Universities or something like that. Interesting to hear you use the word bespoke in that fashion, Winston's mom. I've only ever heard the word bespoke used in that fashion in one other context. Can anybody else identify the context in which I have heard the word bespoke used as Winston's mom uses it here? Who can tell me where it was the only other time or the only other place I've heard that. Anybody know? University of Maryland University College. Yeah, right. Like,
well, there's a UTI. That's in college too, like institute. It's UTI.
University of
Technics or something.
They should call it an Academy of University College of Institute. The Institute of University College
Academy
enrichment programs.
Yeah, that sounds good. Investment program.
No, not from James Bond. That is not where I heard that term being used.
Sure.
University of Technological Institute. What?
Yeah, that's UTI.
That's a terrible name.
Yeah. Thanks, leaf trimmer. Yeah, it is that.
See, unfortunately, my beard, it knows where it's supposed to grow. It's supposed to go right here. But it grows all the way up here. It grows on my nose.
It's because you're such a man.
H, you know what? I got to agree with you on this. And I'm not a makeup person at all. I've never wanted to comment on it or anything or notice it. But I also noticed when we started this live stream that the eyeliner pops on screen.
Thank you.
No, the place I heard it from, I'm surprised nobody else has to identify this, is from the Kanye West song. Or not, it's not a Kanye West song, but he's rapping in a song with Estelle called American Boy. Yeah. Look at that Pete Coat. Tell me he's broke. He uses bespoke somewhere in that rhyme as well. And that's the only other context I can think of ever hearing that word be used in that way before. But I did see the Kingsman movie, and they may have used it.
They had smoking jackets.
Well, they may have used the term bespoke in that fashion, but I don't recall noting it.
Actually, your other side's not so bad.
Octavia Silva says you should wax my entire head. Do they still have Nair?
Yes, they do.
That's what you should do. Just Nair your whole body. Just bathe in Nair.
It burns.
Kim is divorcing Kanye.
Is this really happening, guys? Did I get your skin? Okay.
I feel kind of sorry for both of them. Kanye is complicated. She wants to move into a different world now, I read. I guess if she's with Kanye, she's in Kanye's world, or what? Everybody who's with Kanye is in Kanye's world, one suspects.
Well, you want to know something interesting? So I have a friend. This is so anecdotal, but I have a friend who is cousins with the Kardashians. So they would go to my friend would go to these events and they would be there. And my friend was like, it's totally set up. It's totally more for publicity than it is a
real thing.
Yeah. I think there was attraction there for sure. He was huge when she married him.
Well,
even start dating.
The weirdest thing is, at some point, both of them followed through on that motorcycle video with neither of them putting a stop to it.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God.
So you know that they're not, whatever types they are, they don't balance each other out successfully because they collaborated all the way through to the conclusion to both make and then watch it and chose to release that video.
Okay, so I actually do believe, Leaf Terminator, that people who don't even like each other can make babies. So, I do think that there was an initial attraction between them. I really do. But they said it's going to be their last season of the show. And they said that he didn't show up for it. And that she's had it because of his politics with Trump and all his bipolar stuff. If he does have bipolar, and she's done with it.
I think that there's a decent chance that he's bipolar or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I've typed him as ENFJ. And that means he's SI-polar, which, when you're empowered to just be a big old mess, quote unquote, as a person, as Kanye West kind of has, and you're SI-polar, well, that's going to manifest in things spiraling at some point,
Yeah, they are.
You can't be enabled too much in avoiding your polar if it's something important like SI, where your physical well-being and thereafter your mental well-being is dependent on your ability to take care of yourselves.
Yeah. Greetings, wisdom. I believe that Kanye West is has bipolar.
He self-identifies as having it.
He does self-identify as having it. He's been institutionalized before.
He also says it's his magical muse.
You know,
I think he has a very different relationship with it than you do.
Than me, yeah, for sure.
I never got from you a sense that you liked manic episodes.
No. If I was in the middle of the one, no, I didn't like them. No. They were totally unhealthy. Scary. They're always scary.
Have you seen Neon Genesis Evangelion? No. Haven't seen that one.
You generally think they're both very annoying, Lauren Cuthbert? I mean, I do too. That's why, it's interesting because on astrotheme.com, all the way down on the left-hand column is celebrity compatibility. And they show the compatibility for them, and it's actually really not that good. I know that sounds so mumbo-jumbo, but when I looked at their chart, I was like, I'm surprised that they're still together. But again, you can't that's not Bible, but if she is really, leaving him, there's a bunch of reasons why. I don't think it's just one thing.
The thing is, Kim Kardashian is one of the two. In the final Family Feud round, they only have 2 answers on the board. The question is, lady with a big ass and no talent. The 2 answers on the board are Kim Kardashian, number 1 answer on the board. Number 2, Jennifer Lopez. Now, the thing is, Jennifer Lopez is not completely talentless in the sense that she can be an okay actress, kind of, if she's just playing her own kind of self, basically.
Yeah, I liked her in the most in Ex-Monster-in-Law or Monster-in-Law with Jane Fonda. She was so charming in that because she was legitimately playing herself, having to prove herself to this uptight mom.
But Kanye is a more challenging character to deal with. It's harder to put Kanye in an easy box. He's both had some genius moments and some genius stuff, and also been correct about his own genius, and then therefore kind of super, it's like, people don't like it when it's Arosama, my esteemed self, as they say. I learned this term researching Japanese honorifics last night. And it talked about how you never use the word sama with yourself. That would mean my esteemed self, unless you're being extremely arrogant or jokingly self-effacing. And that's one of the sort of things that I go see, well, Japanese culture, you're wrong about this shit. It's sometimes it's not a terrible thing to prioritize saying what you actually think over managing the FE shit. It can't always be the case that you have to. It's sometimes. Dialectic Evolution says, hey, it's Eric, that COVID denier and self-aggrandizing MBTI YouTuber. Right. So, the thing is, if you say anything self-aggrandizing, you are subjecting yourself to all kinds of critique. But nevertheless, Kanye was somewhat correct at certain points about where he was standing out. You know,
Yeah.
He's made some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And he's also made some stuff that's fallen well short of.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since he's put out music that people really listen to. It's been a while. I really feel like they like brought each other down. Like, I don't really know much about Kim Kardashian, but like, I mean, it seems like everything is for the show of it, you know. There was probably some form of love there, but I wanted to answer Octavia Silva's question. Can an ISFJ be socially awkward? I think yes, they get to a point where it gets awkward, but most of the time they are very good in social situations, especially if they have like practice beforehand. Like my sister, for instance, like she would go to a lot of like what are those places like networking events, and she'd have it like planned, like she like knew who's going to be there, like she was very social. Yeah,
Just leave it be once in a while. Don't worry about it.
And you know, she would handle it herself like so well. But I do think there's burnout, and when the burnout happens is when they kind of more want to like leave.
Yeah, so Rachel's sister's an ISFJ. She's an INFJ.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this stuff with intertype relations. I think that potentially intertype relations provides an excellent means to talk more productively about cognitive functions, because it gives the analysts in the room a frame of reference, which is to say, okay, well, we're using this to predict behavior of 1 to 2 people, you know, both of one or both people in this relationship in regards to each other based on the cognitive function interactions. It's informative about the cognitive function interactions, and it's also informative about why we should believe in personality types. Namely that here's a teleological heuristic, and it's easy to test, you know. Well, if you correctly identify a couple of people as a certain type and they've never interacted before, you should be able to predict how they're going to interact in certain ways going into their first interaction.
So Octavia Silva, what I have learned the most is that most typings of people in shows, like characters on shows and stuff, are wrong. Because a lot of people don't understand the cognitive functions. They don't go by that. So they'll type on public forums and they'll guess, you know, on Tumblr and stuff. But a lot of times they don't understand the functions, so they type them wrong.
And of course, it's always possible to make arguments about fictional characters, because they're not actually people, so you can't really determine for sure.
It's hard.
But
it's very hard.
If you're going to make an argument one way or the other, there are usually, for most fictional characters, a given typing that you can make better arguments for, and ones you can make worse arguments for.
Yes.
So the thing is, I want to return to this issue, this dialectic evolution thing. Mom, I was still trying to process, was he sort of riffing off what I was talking about and joking, like demonstrating straw manning or something? But I think he's actually somebody who doesn't like me from before, if I recall correctly. I can't remember if he was somebody who disliked me. I think so. Regardless, it's like the thing that made me kind of pause was he said self-aggrandizing, which is something I've been talking about a lot. He said I'm a COVID denier, which I'm explicitly not anything of the sort. So it's like obviously factually untrue. So I thought, well, he must be joking. And then he says, I bet you didn't take the vaccine, you ignoramus. Which, of course, is a weird kind of category error because it's like whether or not I took the vaccine and whether or not what my position is on taking the vaccine are two totally different things. So it's like, I thought he must be joking or sort of demonstrating like, an exaggerated form of dumbness that I face all the time. I don't know, but maybe he's being serious. I'm not sure. Bipolar people can be serious about weird shit, So I got work today, but I need to check my phone and see if it's at 3:15, 3:10 or something like that, or later in the evening. Depends
I'll
on
check my phone.
Well, I just plugged mine in because it was out of batteries.
Oh, well, your calendar shows up on my phone too, so
No, but I'm in this particular instance. It's up in the air. I'm waiting for her to confirm either 3:10 or say no. We are pushing back. She said it's going to either be.
I forgot about that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay, no problem. And now there's one dislike. I think we have answer. I guess he's real. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like. Direct evolution. He said shit that's like textbook kind of exemplifying. If I were going to make fun of in an exaggerated way of the kind of way that people deal with me really stupidly, I would say those kind of things that he was saying. Like, Eric's a COVID denier, a self-aggrandizing YouTuber who's so ignorant he hasn't even taken the vaccine yet. Well, I was just like,
so weird.
It's so weak that I took it for a joke at first. I literally took it for a joke because I did address the thing you said. I'm not a COVID denier. I'm currently talking explicitly about the subject of self-aggrandizement and to the extent to which I myself am harming myself and or guilty of some social failure and what it represents in terms of cultures and stuff like that. It's a topic I'm actually discussing right now. And so to call me self-aggrandizing is to say, oh, Eric, that video you made this morning about being self-aggrandizing, I instead of viewing it like I should, which is somebody trying to grow as a human being, I'm going to use it to attack you. That doesn't make a good attack because the only possible response you get from the attack would be, I concede that point and working on it, right? But you already know that in advance unless you just coincidentally happen to be that dumb about something I'm talking about. And then the last thing you said is, and I'm assuming you haven't gotten the vaccine, you ignoramus. So, okay, so you're just incidentally being ridiculous. That's fine. I mean, you get, right, that I'm not a COVID denier. So the first thing you said was factually false, just straight up factually false, right? And that I did respond to it on point. You say, don't attack you. Well, I have said you're dumb on a few occasions, but you called me an ignoramus, which when somebody uses that word, they are not a very smart person 99% of the time. It's like, it's a word that any intuitive with good sense knows conveys to the other person that you're trying too hard to sound smart.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, you know?
Thanks, Octavia Silva. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, I've never denied COVID. Not once.
No.
So you're not referring to a position that I used to have either. You're just talking out your ass. Why are you here if you hate me so much? To just defame me with bullshit? Because it's not like you're making any legitimate critiques. Say that I'm self-aggrandizing. I mean, I was really hammered on being self-aggrandizing in one particular instance recently. I've been really hammered about it. Even though it was more or less true what I was saying. I didn't say that. I have never said that. I have never said you or anybody else should not take precautions regarding COVID. So again, you're lying. You're lying or just super wrong. You know? I have never said that. Now, of course, why am I so first you said one lie, and I said that's not true. That's not my position at all. And instead of addressing the fact that you made a mistake, a significant mistake, in defaming me by accusing me of that, you just moved on to another lie. That's not a sign of somebody who's worth listening to or speaking with at all. It's a sign of somebody who's spiteful, hateful, and dumb. Now, I'm not sure that you're spiteful, hateful, and dumb. I don't know your emotions. They're your subjective data. I can't know that exactly, but I'm pretty intuitive, and I do know that people who are legitimate in trying to engage other human beings don't defame them with reductionist straw men like that. Well, this Spite Monkey has been around before. It's a TI polar person who's still reconciling that they're not really. I have never said it was a bunch of loonies trying to destroy the economy.
No,
I have never
not.
said that. And the virus is just the common cold. I have never said that.
No.
But the hospitals are packed. And what are you going to do when you lose a leg? Yeah, the fact is the hospitals are not packed. That's not true. But regardless, even if it were true, why is COVID going to chop off my leg? I said it has an equivalent fatality rate to the flu, that we have a corollary that we can compare it against in terms of significance of response, in terms of measuring proportionality. In other words, it's not entirely unique. We can compare its proportionality against things. So, for example, I've also compared it against AIDS. 700,000 people died last year from AIDS. The words I say are very carefully phrased. For very good reason.
Yeah.
For very good reason. It's so I'm not subject to this kind of stupid bullshit. I have never said that. I've never said it's just a flu. It's just the cold. No. I've said it's equivalent in its fatality rate to the flu. It is contagious like the flu. And it's a relatively novel virus like every year's flu virus. So let's look at it in terms of proportionality. How many people a year does the flu kill? For example, in 2020, the year when Italy had the purported horrific pandemic of COVID deaths, it turns out that the amount of COVID deaths this year was equivalent to the amount of flu deaths in Italy 5 years ago. Okay, so am I saying that COVID is the flu? No. Am I saying that COVID is the common cold? No. Am I saying that it's coronavirus and like the common cold, it is therefore resistant to normal vaccines? Yes, I've said that. But you see, I'm really careful with my words. I don't say things in that way that you're interpreting it, because that way is stupid. You will never find me saying that, Skygear. You will never find me saying that. Absolutely not. I challenge you to do so. I challenge you to do so. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
To the extent that during the whole COVID thing, I made any false claims or claims that I've since retracted, it was very early on. It was specifically because I didn't learn right away that I didn't realize right away that it was a kind of virus that you couldn't make a regular vaccine for. So some of my very early thoughts were predicated on the assumption that you could make a vaccine for it. The same thing that I didn't realize that coronavirus had that commonality with the common cold. Again, a commonality with the common cold. It doesn't make it the common cold. I have spent as much time bashing those who dismiss the existence of COVID, the uniqueness of COVID, or other realities about COVID, as I have bashing those who insist that despite the total lack of reasonable corollary or proportionality to anything else in the world, despite the total inability to generalize any kind of justification from the current course of action to any other comparable equivalency, that we somehow do something instead of knowing what we ought to do, right? Doing something. That was my initial problem with the whole thing, that everybody wants to do something about this. And a large number of the arguments were appeals to ignorance. We don't know whether COVID's going to meow. We don't know whether COVID's going to meow. And the thing is, what we do know is there exist protocols for onus of responsibility. If there is a vulnerable population who is subject to harm because of a unique condition, such as a peanut allergy, the onus is on them to avoid peanuts. It is not on everybody else to eliminate peanuts from their diet. I have never once advocated against any individual choosing to wear a mask. Yeah. I've never advocated against the right of any business to require individuals to wear a mask. I have never even argued against the idea that that the masks are helpful. I've said, I don't think that question's been answered adequately yet, but I've never said they're not helpful. I did make a joke video in which I said, when I promoted mask sharing so we could all develop immunity of the virus, which of course was silly because you can't, but that was a joke, right? That was a joke video. That was clearly not actually something I'm advocating. So that's the reality about my position on COVID. It's been nuanced and correct the whole time. And to the extent that I have changed any position, I have explicitly noted that I was wrong about this thing before, and I have recanted it and retracted it. Okay, leaf trimmer, enough. You know, we just don't need a resident chip on the shoulder guy. You know, it's like, enough. You don't need to have a problem with everybody, especially every woman or everybody who disagrees with you about anything.
What do you mean?
Because that's the thing, dialectic evolution, by making correct style of claims. So in other words, my claims are things such as, given the information available currently, we ought to conclude that this is more likely given the realities of the thing. So for example, I made a video recently, two videos recently. One was a little further back and one was more recent. The one further back said, you know, the mainstream media keeps saying this thing is naturally occurring. It's definitely not lab made, but my intuition is smelling fishy here. I think there's a decent chance it was lab made. And then I did a second video where I reviewed all of the data that I saw, all the media stuff that I could find about it, and determined that the better argument is that it's probably lab made. Note, I am not claiming it's lab made, but I am claiming that it is unacceptable for the mainstream media to position it being lab made as a myth or a conspiracy theory or something that deserves no credence or legitimacy as an argument, because the better arguments are on the other side. Not because I want it that way or care. Initially, my response to whether it was lab made or natural made was that's not the right question to be asking. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the question of what we ought to be doing, what we ought to be doing. So those are the sort of statements I make, dialectic evolution, because I'm smart. Okay, so dialectic evolution. You are saying it's for sure not made in a lab, right? Because you cannot splice DNA into RNA because RNA is a double helix and RNA is just one thing. So there was no DNA splicing involved. You know, having reviewed all of the arguments that I've heard made out there, I've never heard anybody make that argument before. I spent a lot of time reviewing, including peer-reviewed journals, that kind of stuff, you know, Google Scholar stuff about what's really the truth here. So I've done a lot of research into it. Okay. Have you done any research into it? Remember, I don't care whether it was natural or lab. I'm just trying to say, what's the better position to hold given the arguments out there? I'm not a biochemist. I'm not a geneticist. I don't know how to splice genes. I'm not a specialist in this area, right? So all I can do is review all of the work of the various purported specialists and deliberate about it objectively. Well, yeah, I'll hide it from the channel. I mean, they come in and been offensively non-responsive, you know? It's like dialectic evolution wants to spend all of his time attacking me and none of his time responding to anything I say. So that makes them a bad person, I guess. Because they're just fundamentally unfair. You know, I'm willing to address what they say, but they don't address what I say. So I'll ban them shortly if they show no reasonable willingness or interest in treating me like a human being. Because the thing is, I treat you like a human being, dialectic evolution, which is to say I respond to what you're saying. I take you seriously enough to listen to your words and hear them and process them and understand them. So, you know, I mean, who knows what they're going on about? But I'm going to give them a chance to grow like I give everybody a chance to grow. Growth comes from objective self-criticism a lot, mostly. So it's time for you to start looking in the mirror and telling us what you're doing wrong, not what I'm doing wrong. I talk plenty about what I'm doing wrong because I'm objectively self-critical on an ongoing basis. That's why I'm correct so much more than you will ever be, probably. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. You need to think about that question. Right. You need to think about that. Okay. Right now, you're thinking a lot about what I'm doing wrong. You need to think about yourself objectively. Okay. You're thinking subjectively about what I'm doing wrong. In other words, you want me to be wrong. So you're going to say I am. That's your feelings. You need to remove those from the equation and use some sort of objective distance when evaluating both yourself and others, and especially about ideas. Okay. How can you be objectively critical of yourself? I mean, I don't know how to not be objectively critical of myself. That's what it means to have TI tool and FI polar. It's almost never the case that I can lie to myself. I just can't do it. I always have the worst possible interpretation of myself, the most negative possible interpretation. It's why the motto of this channel is there's nothing wrong with you. Because I assume other people are like me, right? That they are genuinely their own worst critic, their own harshest critic, you know? Because I don't consider spite to be critique. So spite monkeys are harsher critics of me than I am, but of course, there's nothing objective about that. They're just being spiteful. The point is, if you were to get me to score myself and other people, a panel of people who generally were not inherently hating of me, to evaluate my own success in various areas, I'm sure I'd score myself lower than other people would score me. Because in large part because I am and have been for quite a long time, a professional debate coach. What do you think a debate coach does? They ideate out all the possible arguments, and they are then objectively analyze them, see which is strongest for the context, not which they believe in more, not which they want to be true more. And if you let your feelings get involved in making those decisions about which arguments are strongest, then your kids lose rounds. And that's no fun. So my kids will run some arguments that I might even find offensive if I think they're going to win. Certainly, my kids are not going to run identity politics shit in general. Hi, Elite LP, you're back. Welcome back. We were just bemoaning the fact that we had all of the LPs that we have here currently were below the elite level. They were from good to very good to great to excellent even, but none of them were elite. Now, we know that we're safe because the elite squad of ninjas is here to protect us from nuclear bombs. Fucking Elite Trimmer, you've got to be kidding me. I'm putting you on timeout again. You've got to be kidding me. This is what I'm talking about. Objective self-criticism. You are incredibly, thoroughly, and consistently unpleasant to all sorts of people. But every time I try to bring this up, you point to, well, they did this to me too. You can take the most innocuous comment in the world and turn it into some sort of attack on Leaf Trimmer, and one of Leaf Trimmer's various sensitivity spots. So just knock it the fuck off. This pigeon looks way better. You know what kind of pigeon I have at my house? Rachel and I have here? We have a peacock at our house.
We do.
This is a woman. Yes. This is my woman.
I am a woman.
It's a real live woman. She's a real live woman with the hell of a scope.
Thanks, babe.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hell of a boyfriend.
Thanks. I have a hell of a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. You want to see the peacock? Peacock's not here at the moment.
He comes when he's hungry.
Comes about twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
He hangs out back here some. He doesn't actually live at our house though.
No.
He kind of lives in the tree in the next to our driveway in the front yard. It's actually on the neighbor's yard.
Life's synchronic. If you have Instagram, you can see pictures of Pete on my Instagram. Just look for Rachel Lapalosa. You know that name, you'll find it.
Octavia Silva, you did nothing wrong. Okay, the fact that it's very difficult for me to say that anybody's done anything wrong, Leaf Trimmer, when they are in a spat with you, because I've seen this happen so many goddamn times.
Yeah,
it's like, who else has problem with that many people?
No. Wow.
Nobody even except for Cloud, right? So waiting for fuel to get shipped. Oh gosh. Did I forget to go to the post office today and ship your fuel? I think I might have forgotten to go.
Oh.
Peter, yes, Pete is the name of the peacock. And he's a very handsome, he's a bold gentleman.
He is a bold gentleman.
A bold set of feathers.
Yes, he does. They're really coming in healthy. And he really likes the cat food that was meant for pee-pee, but she doesn't like. So it's great peacock food.
Yeah, my dad brought it back from the grocery stores. Like, dented section. This big ass bag of cat food that had been like packing taped closed again. So it's the bagged version of a dented can, I guess.
Yeah, it's totally bagged version of dented can.
And so he got it cheap. He picked it up for us. But our cat doesn't really like it because
she's an entitled kitty.
Oh yeah, she's a very entitled kitty. She has very specific tastes in cat food.
She does. She goes for the fish. For the fish, she likes tuna specifically. We tried to get her. We thought we were doing a good thing when we got her this expensive white fish, like all white fish, but no, she likes her tuna.
Actually, no, that wasn't an expensive whitefish. It was the multi-fish blend thing.
Oh, multi-fish blend. Oh,
That's cool. I'm a debate coach card doesn't work. Formal debate is a lot of nonsense. Just rookies trying to freshmen. I wasn't playing a card at all. I was done talking to you, actually. I was talking to other people. So you're now hidden from the channel.
Fedora, but
Your lies and bullshit get nowhere because the problem is this. This environment here is about words. So your disrespecting words is not doesn't do you any good at all. It's like going to a basketball court and saying these round balls and circular hoops don't matter. God. Real debate. Real basketball is just running down the street and crashing into things.
Winston's mom, I want to let you know that I got the butt padded underwear, and luckily you can take out the butt pads and you can still use them as regular like shapewear. So I'm very happy about that.
Let's see here.
You really do look good in that hat. When we first met in person, he was wearing that hat.
Was I?
Yeah, you were.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything from Jeffrey's mom saying
Anything different?
any change of time, but probably my phone is still like catching up. Yeah, I thought the evolution. I think it's an ESFP.
Oh, you never got an answer on my birthday. My birthday's actually in 2 days, January 16th, 1985. I'm turning 36.
Because Elise Trimmer, I'm not just moderating people for beefing with me, right? I'm moderating their behavior with other people in the chat as well. And besides, I didn't ban you at all. I timed you out. Whereas I actually banned Dialectic Evolution, who's, it's like, the thing is, I didn't time you out for a refusal to talk logically with me. I timed you out for being a dick to everybody all the time. At least all the women.
Yeah. There's a trend. When's your birthday, Octavio Silva?
He's an ESTP, Dialectic Evolution. He is not an ESTP. No way. You want to talk about ESTPs? We have ESTPs around here. They're like Legends Fall.
30th, Virgo.
Legends Fall is and Lee Trimmer, if you actually said that sentence, non-ironically, then that's all we need to know. I can only name like 4 people I have a feud with. You shouldn't have a feud with anybody. No, DE's got to be ESFP. It's got to be. The TI polar is clear. He does that textbook ESFP thing. He'll make a bad point win that point, and then he'll just shift over to another bad point. That's like textbook ESFP shit.
Cool.
They don't ever actually address the fact that, oh, yes, I agree, I was wrong about that first thing I was saying.
Yo.
They just move on to the next thing they were saying is wrong.
Octavio Silva, our moons are the same. That's really cool. I have a Libra rising, but I don't have any planets in Leo. Only my houses, you know.
No planets, just yards and squares.
Just yards and squares. I
can't say there's so many people. Well, look, you're always ready to battle anybody about politics or religion. It's like you're everybody's Thanksgiving guest nightmare, right? If there's one thing that we can definitively say about you, Leaf Trimmer, is that you violate the Thanksgiving rule, which is don't talk about politics or religion at Thanksgiving dinner, right? You are constantly trying to engage people in an adversarial fashion about politics and religion. And it annoys people. You know, it's like if this were a physical space and somebody started arguing with you, like, that's it, I don't want to argue with you anymore. And they walked away from you, and then you continued following them and pestering them and yelling at them and stuff. I would go over and say, dude, knock it the fuck off.
I know people who, I know for a fact that people have left because they don't want to deal with that crap in any sense of form. So when it happens in the chat, they don't want to come back.
And look, the thing is I'm trying to walk a balanced approach here, which is to say, I do respect people's freedom of expression, and I don't think that a little back and forth, a little arguing back and forth, a little meowing is any big deal. People meow each other a little bit. I'm not one to get fussy, but I'm more like Sensei Johnny, not Sensei Crease.
Yeah, you are.
I'm definitely not Sensei LaRusso. Okay. So sometimes people think I must be Sensei Crease. I'm not Sensei Crease either.
That is so weird.
I'm Sensei Johnny.
I cannot even see you as Crease, not even close.
Right. But the thing is, I'm like Johnny in the sense that I'm FI polar. So I do believe in no matter how Christian I would like to be, all my guts instincts say, or my habits, I don't turn the other cheek typically. I'm somebody who says, oh yeah, well, fuck you. I don't tend to get physical in that regard at all, but I'm not one to walk away from a battle. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to learn but you can't be, not wanting to walk away from a battle and wanting to get into a battle are different things. I'm not talking about any anime at the moment. The strange Japanese thing I'm talking about right now are the social dynamics of this live chat, in which no one but nobody is allowed to be Erosama. Trump is an ESFP, for sure. Trump is an ESFP.
I'm really glad that
There's
he's not an ESTP. I'm glad that he's not an ESTP because he was like, if he was an ESTP, it was really hard for me to reconcile that one. So it makes more sense him as an ESFP.
I mistakenly thought he was an ESTP.
They could be good actors.
At first, because I mistook his demonstrative FE for third slot. He obviously cares a lot what other people think. Mm-hmm. Well, I've since come to understand that demonstrative is demonstrative for a reason. It's demonstrated. So it's like,
my demonstrative FI, I learned, with PP, I learned how to be with her through you. and then I demonstrate it to her. I really am grateful for PNP.
Yeah, if it was one person doing it, but when it's like 5 or 10 people just doing it to argue, it gets a little frustrating. Well, I've seen it before. I've seen communities that are more inclusive, like, for example, Discord, where everybody gets to chat, or the Raw Room, where everybody has equal access to the microphone, results in some problems, because they're for people who fundamentally understand that like ESFPs are very map oriented, are very territory oriented people. And it just sort of offends them when people are talking about the map. So anyway, what shows here on the map, they're going to come in and be like, are you talking about the map again? I hate the map. Of course, the contemporary world is not conducive to ESFPs, because this kind of environment, live chat, is all about words. So if he wants to come in and attack me here, he comes in and attacks with words. Mm-hmm. But he's not capable of using words well. Not to attack, just like if I were in the stone world, Dr. Stone's stone world, where there's no technology and primitive stuff, I'd have no chance competing in an environment where it's all about being the strongest, most violent male. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be successful. And if I were forced to persist in that environment for a long time, I'd get increasingly resentful and spiteful, because the way the world is fundamentally assaults my ontology. That's what it is for ESFPs. The world as it is here is a place that fundamentally assaults their ontology, because it says what matters most is words, being right, having the right mapping. And what doesn't matter is your physical experience. It invalidates their whole being, because that's where they have their legitimacy, is through their physical experiences. They don't think that there's anything legitimate to be attained by map stuffs. Bill Clinton is an ENFJ.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton was an ENFJ, whether he self-identified as that or not. The thing is, I almost 100% of the time, if not 100% of the time, trust even my own informal instincts about somebody's type over another typologist's typing of them.
Yeah, that's what I've learned too.
Like the exception might be if I've never talked to somebody and either Spacey or Isaiah were to type them as Mia, and my instinct was they don't seem like Mia, I would sort of afford the benefit of the doubt that there's as good a chance that they're what they say they are as what I say they are, because I haven't even talked to them yet. But by and large, the thing is, I'm always willing to hear arguments about why somebody's this and not that. But the problem is, I'm often not going to agree that the justification the person uses is actually a justification for the conclusion that they draw, because we have a different understanding of what qualifies as justifying a given conclusion in this area. For people who either are steeped in metaphor because they've watched a bunch of other shit before they encounter talking to offended people, or because they just, they typically think that way more. I forget what I said.
Hillary Clinton's an ESTJ. most likely.
I think she's probably an STJ of some sort as well. I or E.
She could be an I.
Are there many ESFP mathematicians? I don't think so.
She could be I. Your mom really. Oh, never mind. I don't know what your mom thought about Hillary Clinton. She liked who was running for office? Elizabeth Warren. Your mom liked Elizabeth Warren.
My mom did?
Mm-hmm. She would just point to the TV and she'd be like, I like her. And I'd be like, yeah, I like her too. Just to agree. Because, I'm not going to argue with your
dementia lady.
Mom, yeah.
I don't know what Socionic says the ESFPs are. The thing is, there's a lot of confusion out there about cognitive functions and typology in general and stuff. And so, people come in here and they think we're talking about the same subject, and we're really not talking about the same subject at all, because they're understanding what comprises a type differently than I'm understanding it. And in my opinion, they're understanding it wrong. So, third time's a charm. Eric, are ISTPs more map-oriented than INFPs?
I don't have any opinion about Elizabeth Warren. Eric's mom liked what Elizabeth Warren had to say. She would point to the TV and say, I like that woman.
It was very unlikely that she understood it.
I honestly think that I think she likes what she heard, like the feminist stuff.
Yeah, probably. My mom's kind of a feminist.
Yeah, she is. She hated Trump.
Oh, she hated Trump like anything.
She would
it was like one of the last pieces of knowledge that she retained in her life was that she hated Trump.
Yeah, we had to change the channel if he was on, because she would she would get all worked up. She did not like him. I love her for that. I love her for many reasons. Your mom is very dear to my heart.
So the thing is, ISTPs, INTPs, or INFPs, who's map oriented? Well, ISTPs are analysts, and INFPs are executives. So I call the types that have their first two functions metaphysical as the meta-analysts. The types that have first function metaphysical, second function physical, the analysts. The types that have first function physical, second function metaphysical, executives. And the type that have both first two functions physical, executors. So I would say that analysts are more map oriented than executives, but executives have a better relationship with the meta analysts. So I was thinking about this in the bath. It's like meta analysts should listen to executives and tell analysts what to do, and be out of the loop when it comes to executors. Analysts should listen to meta analysts, tell executives what to do, and executors should be out of the equation again. Executives should tell executors what to do and tell meta analysts what to do. And they should only listen to analysts. Meta analysts should listen to executives, but tell analysts what to do, or executors. Executors should listen to executives, I guess, or analysts, maybe. But generally, they shouldn't be telling the other types what to do. So it's like there's a lack of symmetry there somehow, The I believe that the biggest problem that we have in society today can be summed up as this: analysts go first, and meta-analysts respond. And it should be the other way around. Analysts need to be cleared by meta-analysts before they do their analysis in some sense. Because if you get an ENFP, they're out there doing analysis, right?
Mm-hmm. My dad
That was not a rant towards you. Not a rant. That was, everything I said was totally legitimate and non-ranty.
Truth. Also, my dad, like, that totally sums him up too. He did, oh God. How could he have worked so much? And I don't remember the title of his office manager. He's auditor. It's an analyzing job for sure.
No, I have written it down. Sky Gear. I'm making a document / I'm in the process of making a video or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've even made some images which I felt were necessary. If you look at all the intertype relations, you can understand them as same, flipped, or mirrored. So let me show my screen here by doing this. So you can see how flipped here, flipped is like that. 1 4 1 4. 2 3 flipped is like that. 2 3 mirrored is 2 6 like that, basically. Anyway, I'll explain it more in the video. And the thing is, if you're talking about intertype relations, though, there's only 3 statuses a given thing can have. It can either be same, flipped, or mirrored. So, well, okay, that's a very meta-analyst question, Silver, and proves that no, it does not. So Silver takes the role of the meta-analyst here and says, Eric, you're doing this analysis about the state of affairs of the world and how analysts need to listen to meta-analysts or whatever. Isn't meta-analysis a review of multiple sources of studies about the same thing? Well, in peer-reviewed journal, that's what meta-analysis is referred to as. So in other words, a peer-reviewed meta-analysis is a study that simply reviews and engages the data of multiple studies studying the same thing against each other to make a meta-analysis of that particular scientific issue. So if you are talking about meta-analysis as it's used in peer-reviewed journals, then you would be correct. Now, I'm not meaning it in that sense. I mean it in the non-term of art sense, which is that's kind of that sense of the term is a term of art, which is say specific to certain kinds of empirical scientific data and certain kinds of studies that are subject to meta-analysis in that fashion. Other kinds of data and studies are not necessarily subject to that kind of meta-analysis. But what is always subject to meta-analysis is any kind of analysis being done. So, for example, you're challenging my use of the term meta-analysis as being inconsistent with how you're most familiar with it being used. Is a form of meta-analysis. In other words, you're analyzing how I'm analyzing things rather than simply analyzing things. Analysts, what they do is they have a universal frame of reference, but a particularist tool function. So if you look at an ENFP, they will universally know what words will be novel, creative, original, what words to come up with about things. They'll intuitively, automatically know how to riff off of things verbally, but it'll be for particularist purposes. So in other words, they'll evaluate whether or not they're happy with their words by how much they represent who they authentically are. Whereas I'll be happy with my words by how much they withstand the scrutiny of others for logical consistency and validity. So I appreciate people like you, Silver, because you come and ask some very good questions that I'm right in my meta-analyst wheelhouse. Number one, you asked me about my use of the term meta-analysis, and you are correct. I am using it differently than it's used in that other context. What is the relationship between analysis and meta-analysis in this context? Well, it's specifically whether or not there's essentially a teleological frame necessarily. So anytime your analysis is being done for a particular outcome or goal or desired purpose, then it's analysis. When it's instead done for attaining truth or correctness as its absolute end, then it's meta-analysis, essentially. You could make the distinction between framework and case level, or meta-framework and case level, which is to say, the framework is definitional or ground arguments about a given topic. Case level is impact generating arguments that impact under those definitions. Meta framework arguments are those that subsume the argument itself as a matter of importance. So, for example, a meta framework argument in a formal debate might be, he won all the arguments, but he called me a racial slur, so I should win the round. Because this matter that's not on the flow, so to speak, that's not an argument in the round, is nevertheless a relevant factor in deciding the round, and it should be the determinant factor in this instance because we have such a strong invested interest in precluding that from occurring in this forum that will make it such. We ought to make it such, or you should vote for me, Judge, to preclude him from ever doing that again, or make it much less likely anyway. So the bottom line is these questions take some time to answer. But you're right, Silver, in a science sense, obviously you have to have a lot of studies before you do a meta-analysis of those multiple studies on the same thing. But what I'm talking about is more a matter of whether or not something is relevant when it's unpurposed. So for an ENFP, they write philosophy sometimes, terrible philosophy, because they're trying to get across what the most correct position is, I guess you'd say, in terms of their authentic valuing of human beings. It'd be the nicest way to put it. Whereas, of course, it's that's the worst example of that sort of thing happening, where analysts take over something that is not analysis is not appropriate for. You need meta-analysis. In other words, you can't do philosophy because you're trying to establish something. You have to do philosophy because you need to understand and have come to understand. But it's the other way around for ENFPs. They feel first, and then they do the philosophy to make their feelings sound in like intellectual words.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah, I guess
Peter's here.
I'm gonna reveal Peter to the people. Michael Dyson called Jordan Peterson a mean, mad white man in a debate. You should watch. I mean, why should I watch that? Why would I want to watch somebody making a stupid argument? I do that at work all the time.
Kitty and the peacock. Oh my goodness. Hello.
It's like my current client practically specializes in making stupid arguments.
Look at how beautiful of a scene that is. I feel so grateful.
He's going down now because he's expecting.
But you get to see some of his.
He's expecting some food. As soon as I walk out there, it'll go down. Oh, he's got some food up on top. See, I didn't see that. Did you put that there?
No,
Just
it might have
happened to be there.
fallen.
I'm being blinded by the light. Blinded by the light.
Kitty ISFP is so good with her SI. Demonstrative SI. Oh, beauty. Yes, P and P.
Marge, I think the leaf trimmer is probably Effie Polar, but I'm not sure. I don't know if leaf trimmer thinks he's Effie Polar or not.
Does everyone see the kitty pageantry?
She is a pageant-winning kitty.
And Peter is a beautiful peacock.
Silver, I think that's a fair thing to say. The thing is here, I'm sort of skipping a step in what I'm talking about, which is I guess in part what I'm talking about is links to the media, which is to say who's telling narratives and through which frame of reference. So if we're talking about politics, for example, is a perfect example where you need non-analysis. Analysis says, I have an agenda, and here's how I'm analyzing this against that agenda. Even if that agenda is to try to be objective about the political questions at hand, it's still analysis. Whereas what we really need is meta-analysis. We need to talk, instead of talking about politics, we need to talk about how we talk about politics. Because the problem isn't that that a person's wrong about any given position or political affiliation. It's that they think that politics can be determined best by an agenda-driven frame of reference. So that they think one side's right, quote unquote. They think there are sides. When in reality, the way it works is somebody who's thinking well about politics is not thinking about partisanship or political sides at all. They're just thinking about whether or not a given policy prescription is a good idea or a bad idea, and for what reasons, you know? Now, obviously, if you're talking about elected officials, then you're going to be arguing instead whether that person is going to be a good or bad candidate, you know? I mean, good or bad, if they win, if they'd be good or bad at the job. But one of my central claims is that anybody who's good at the job of, say, president is foremost good at justifying themselves and at making reasonable claims. My big problem with Trump, as a consequence, more than anything else, was that the man had no respect for words. None whatsoever, right? Talk is cheap. Of course, talk's not cheap. Talk's not cheap at all. You know, it's like, well, whether or not the president says we should do A because of B, or the president says we should do A because of C, can produce entirely divergent histories. I don't know. I'm not interested in typing leaf trimmer. What I know for sure is that leaf trimmer does not self-identify as and does not want to be typed as an ISTJ. That's what my intuition tells me. And I don't think he is. probably. Although, generally, people who really don't want to be typed as ISTJs are ISTJs. But I'm not sure. I don't know what the term is. All I know is he doesn't want to be an ISTJ. And he may very well not be an ISTJ. I don't know. Personally, I don't see why people don't want to be an ISTJ. Or an ESTJ. You love being an ISTJ? Well, I love being an ISTJ, okay? There's nothing more beautiful than an ISTJ in bloom. April, full bloom, ISTJ. That is a lovely sight.
Yes.
In the early spring when the ISTJs come to bloom.
Is that when they come to bloom?
Yeah, let's sing a song together, Rachel. Let's play a song together. Let's play I'm So Sad together.
Okay.
I guess Jeffrey's not meowing right now. I don't know. He didn't call me or anything. So. What you gonna do? Okay, we're gonna open a new window.
It's gonna sound a little different because the lyrics are different.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to rock and or roll, Rachel?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. This is a little number called Rachel and Eric Sing a Song Together. And everyone is amazed. That's what it's called. Rachel and Eric sing a song together and everyone is amazed. That's the title of this song. All right, here we go.
Brooding here won't do any good, but brooding's more and more my style. I seek the cheery ways of standing where we stood, 'cause I've been stuck here a while. And that's despite a natural selfishness that makes it easy to have fun. But flutters in the gut become a fist, and all my visions come undone.
I tried to stream distracting through the afternoon away, but heavy new realities are breaking every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, but still I need to get out of me what's inside my head.
Seems like everybody's so sensitive, so ready to just get mad. I seek the simple ways of living like a kid, 'cause who wants to be the dad? Have we lost our sense of scope and scale? Our capacity to laugh? The sense to know, but not to will, how to tip the golden calf.
I tried to stream distracting through the afternoon away, but inside my head.
Still I'm sad, sad for me, sad for him. Happily, and what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sink clear down to the bone. Still I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for him. But happily, and what you call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sink clear down to the bone. Yay!
Thank you. Good job, Rachel.
Thank you. Good job, Eric.
We're gonna eventually get a whole set down. We'll have them down and we'll play.
Yeah, we could play multiple.
Yeah. Well, I want to get the set down before I can get it, and then us get a live gig someplace once places start opening up.
Oh my
Play again,
gosh! Wow. Can we practice with karaoke too? I learn really my voice learns to open up when I sing songs that I know all the lyrics to multiple times. I can sing karaoke even to your songs.
Yeah, sure. Except I was hardly paying attention to what you're saying because I want to address what Octavia Silver said right there. He was quoting Silver. It seems as if you're describing analysis as critique of facts anchored to a framework used to make a decision, and meta-analysis critique of the framework itself. Is that accurate? Yeah, basically. The thing is, I'm using the term meta-analyst and analyst to describe groups of people, not actually the processes of analysis. So that's where the confusion comes in. I wouldn't normally call analysis of the framework meta-analysis, okay? But the reason I'm calling them meta-analysts, but since I'm calling them meta-analysts, I'm explaining basically what meta-analysis would mean according to that use of the term of meta-analyst. Why I'm referring to them as meta-analysts and analysts as a group of people, rather than referring to them as, say, barbers and carpenters, The answer is I'm using the term analyst to indicate that the person's universality occurs within a well-defined frame and a particularist frame. In other words, that they come at it from a universalist frame, but they use a particularist tool. So they, as a consequence, an analysis in that context then would be purposefully using analysis, whereas meta-analysis would be legitimizing the analysis outside of the purpose. So functionally, it would mean that the meta-analyst would say, we can't do this thing that you've done some analysis that suggested here's the best course of action, for example. The meta-analyst would say, we can't do that because it's wrong. Come up with a less morally offensive way of doing it, or something like that. All right, so Upset Plate set 48 says, Eric, TI is subjective thinking. Of course, I mean, to the extent that every attentional manner is of the subject, then every way we pay attention is subjective. So if you want to render all things subjective, namely all attentional manners because they are of an individual are inherently subjective, then define the term that way. That's fine. But then you don't really mean anything with it. If you want to mean something with the term subjective and objective, define them such that they've operationalized, which means I can use your definition to tell myself whether something's objective or subjective. So if you use my definition, you can evaluate various things and determine whether they are objective, subjective, or no object-subject status. There could be agential as well, right? So, for example, Okay, so let's talk about the same thing from a number of different perspectives. Let's talk about pop divas. Young pop divas have troubled lives. Okay, so I can know this from an SI perspective. In other words, I can think of and remember multiple examples of pop divas that have had troubled lives, and I can say, generalize from that and say, young pop divas have troubled lives. I could reach the same conclusion from an NI way of paying attention, which is to say, I understand how teenagers are in general and how the mechanics of fame making are poisonous to ontology. So it's necessarily the case that young teen divas have troubled lives. I could look at it from an ideational perspective. I'm creating a character as a young teen diva, but I want to make it more interesting than just some depiction of somebody enjoying being a famous diva. So I'm going to add some trouble into her life. I could look at it from an SE perspective. She's a teen diva. I bet I can get her to go get drunk with me and bang her. I could look at it from a subjective perspective. I really, really like that person's music, or I really like her. I think she's great. It's a challenge to say, well, of course, we can't really look at this from a TI perspective. We can't. You could look at it through a TE perspective. How am I going to get close to this person? How am I going to meet them and get their autograph? How am I going to empower them to do better in their career? How am I going to achieve some goal related to them?
I would always,
But you can't really look at it through a TI perspective because it's not really a TI question. In other words, it's possible for an FI user to use FI a lot on the idea that teen divas have troubled lives. For example, maybe an FI user would rise up in them the feeling of emotion that they felt when they learned that Britney Spears had gone crazy again, and how sad it made them feel. So they might have a strong opinion about teen divas because they have strong feelings about them, strong feelings in their past, right? So again, up to templates 48. Forget about definitions for a second. I know I said operationalize your definition. I'm trying to make a simple point here, right? There's a kind of way of paying attention to that statement, teen divas have troubled lives. It's really hard to pay attention to which is introverted thinking. Now, if I were to instead say something like, the way I could pay attention to it with introverted thinking is saying, that's a generalization. It's not always the case. What makes you say that? I would challenge you to ask questions. I'd say, can I rely on what you're saying there is objectively so or not? I'd withhold judgment because I'm trying to be objective. That's what it means to use TI. It's have a disinterested calculus. I'm not looking to see whether I like little teen diva or not, or my thoughts about whatever. I'm questioning whether your statement is defensible or not.
Winston's mom, my favorite makeup brand, for eyeliner, it's Urban Decay, and for eyeshadow, actually. So I'd say Urban Decay. I like NARS as well. They've always been like non-tested on animals. They're expensive though, so it's like I like cherish those things. They're only my precious, because they're just so high quality and match my skin tone so well. But I love eyeliner. Eyeliner and mascara is important. And actually, NYX is a good brand for. I always loved Laura Mercier in Manhattan too. I worked at Lord and Taylor's in Garden City, and she had a stand in there. I was a Sephora Ulta girl. I hardly had money for. I spent most of my money on clothes.
Can I put myself in someone else's worldview? I don't know. I do know that yesterday when I got something out of the garage and I walked out of the garage, I thought about whether to leave the garage door open or close it. And I had this following conversation with myself, which was, well, my dad, he often leaves it open. Once he opens the garage door in the morning, it's thereafter open until the evening when she closes it usually. So it's morning. I just open the garage door. Should I leave it open as well? Well, and I would say, sure, yeah, that's a logical conclusion to draw. To assume that the way that he does it is the way he wants it done. But that's an NI frame of reference. The reality is he doesn't want it done how he does it. He wants to find it how he left it. So, in other words, if you're an SI tool, you would like to know that things remain as you leave them. And when you return to them, they're as they were. That's sort of an assumption you're predicating everything on. So when things are moved, you kind of go like, hey, why did you move this thing?
Oh my gosh. So now that I know that I'm INFJ and I dated an ISTJ, not an INTJ like I previously thought, one day I was in the ISTJ's apartment and I moved around his speakers and stuff. I swear to God, I thought he was going to have an aneurysm. Like,
I mean, when you said you thought it was an ISTJ, you now think it was an ISTJ?
Yeah, one of them.
Oh,
not the borderline. He's definitely INTJ.
No, I know, but you're talking about is somebody you previously referred to as ISFJ?
Oh, I'm sorry. INTJ.
Oh, INTJ.
INTJ. I'm sorry. I do that all the time. My God, my T is so bad.
I don't know what I would call that. It's SI.
Oh.
It's like SI.
Is it recalling?
Yeah, you mistook TE for SI there.
That's
text. What you just did is textbook TE polar. Having an SI problem and attributing it to a TE problem because you don't understand TE.
I don't.
So.
Thank God I have you in my life.
Upton plates. The reality is.
Are they really getting divorced, or is this just a chatter? I can't stand.
Rachel, it probably is real. It's probably real because I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I was at the gas station buying cigarettes the other day, and who walks in but Kim Kardashian?
Oh, she's very noticeable.
And so I'm like, I roll my eyes, but being polite. I'm like, as I got my cigarettes and watching, I'm like, sup? So, probably at that moment, she realized, oh my God, I no longer love Kanye. Now I love Eric.
It's true.
So that's, I've ruined another marriage.
She's been driving around the neighborhood, Mm-hmm. I think it's going to get to the point to where she starts throwing little pebbles at the window. Maybe that's where the crack is from.
Yeah, probably. I've made it clear to her on a number of lives, and I assume she watches all of my videos, but made it clear that I don't really have a lot of respect for the woman. I consider her the textbook answer to the question, who's a woman with a big ass and no talent, right? Did I see your advice? More advice from David Sanderson? fantastic. I love advice.
I'm gonna take more bong rips before I feel like it's a meeting with my sister and my mom. Zoom.
I see what you're saying. Well, look, I mean, they just write a bunch of answers. The quantity first, then quality thing. I have a limited capacity to, with writing anyway, to tolerate things that are half-assed. But I'm just not that interested in writing that much on Quora. But I am very interested in, and plan to, and am today or tomorrow or soon going to make a set of videos responding to that thing that you sent me, Dave Sanderson. So I really like that thing. That's a good thing to respond to. It's like, okay, I have a lot to say about all of this stuff, and everything I have to say about it is worth hearing, because it's like, it explains how much of our conflicts are category errors, basically. Okay, so anyway, that document with like bad arguments and the arguments against the appeal to authority being a fallacy. Of course, the core thing about that is, yes, appeal to authority is a fallacy, but just because something's fallacious doesn't mean it's wrong. So that's a fallacy as well, called the fallacy of fallacies, which is to justify your conclusion that something is wrong by pointing to the fact that it's fallacious. Well, my butt just made a fallacy, but it's not wrong. But it's not wrong. Okay? It spoke the truth.
It spoke the truth. I thought I should have been.
Let's see here.
Since I'm so metaphysical, I'm glad to have you as a partner.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome. I'm not really sure.
I'm not going to say any spoilers, but I am just going to, once again, like, we got one more episode ahead of us of Cobra Kai. This last episode that we just watched was so just, we had to pause it several times. The thing is, a show like that, what it gets to do that is a unique thing for a show to be able to do is have a series of sort of once in a lifetime fictional moments.
Yeah.
In other words, only one time in the show can you have Johnny and Daniel-san meet each other as adults for the first time. Only one time in the show can Sensei Kreese come back and of course, if you're a media maker and you're making this thing, these moments are moments where you have access to a bunch of SI references and NI references from the target population from years and years ago, right? It's like it's such a unique piece of art because of the way that it can take advantage of that thing.
Yeah.
So it's like they do a great job of slowly bringing back people from the movies into the show, so that it's not something that you can duplicate, right? Like you can't write a show well enough to accomplish that just by doing such a great job of writing. It has to have that history with the audience to take advantage of that. It's like you unlock the elite level of weapons.
It does such a good job of it. It really does such a good job of it. You do have to see all three movies, though, to fully appreciate.
I think so. To fully appreciate, you have to have seen all three movies.
I thought I didn't see the third one, but I did.
However, I will say since they know people didn't see didn't see the 2 or 3 as much as they saw 1.
Mm.
They generally provide context clips from the movies 2 or 3 where appropriate.
Yes, and I thought that's smart.
And the thing is, it is smart, but it's just like, that's the best way to put what they've done here is they've unlocked the elite level of god weapons in this game called narrative building. So any storyteller writing scripts for a serial TV show like this is competing on a level playing field normally. And then their weapons they have depend on how good the story idea is, how good the actors are, a lot of different factors. But other than that, they have basic equivalency. But the people who are writing Cobra Kai have got access to, like, everybody else is pulling out AK-47s and assault rifles and stuff. They've got access to, like, you know, like 10-ton bombs.
Yeah, they do.
Because and they just dole them out one every couple of episodes, and of course you can only use them once. Really, it's like it fairly quickly the idea that, oh my God, that's Johnny and Daniel-san, and they're adults now, and we're watching them interact with the same characters again.
Yeah,
the magic of that, you know, sort of you accept that reality. That becomes a default pretty quickly. But they do such a good job of spacing out these bomb dropping moments.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't think of any other thing that you could really do it with besides, I'm sure there's some other movie maybe that's as iconic that you could do it with.
I don't think so.
But I'm having a hard time coming up with one.
Not with a storyline like that, no.
I'm having a hard time coming up with one. Are you finished season 3 already? We got 1 episode left.
Yeah, we have 1 episode left.
Episode 9 is the one that was super uncomfortable, hard to watch.
Yeah.
But still incredibly good.
So good.
Oh
God, you look so good. Oh, you're my tender Roni.
Do you have a type for Miguel? Well, first let me say the guy who plays Miguel is an incredibly good actor.
Yeah, he is.
Because they give him some cheesy ass lines and he pulls them off.
Mm-hmm.
They give him some fucking cheese to read, and he totally sells it. He totally sells it. So whoever plays that guy, he's an excellent actor. Excellent. Hats off to you, sir, for being such a good actor. Perfectly cast. Kids. The whole show is so beautifully cast.
Yeah, really.
What type is Miguel? Miguel would seem to be sort of modeled after Daniel-san. Both of them seem to be ISFJs. You know, like an ISFJ, a fully realized ISFJ is basically Daniel-san as an adult.
Yes, as an adult. He's a great example of a fully realized ISFJ.
And a really likable character.
Very likable. Even when he's wrong, like he redeems himself. It's so rewarding. That show.
He's a good actor too.
Yeah.
What's
really
his name?
Is.
What's the actor's name?
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought that Ralph Macchio was such a nuanced actor?
And his career, like beyond those movies, was kind of dead for a while. And this has just been amazing. I mean, he really is such a good actor in it. Johnny is too. Like
that's the other thing. That's the other reason why you can't really duplicate this. It's a unique set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Because Ralph Macchio, Johnny, Allie,
Crease too.
Crease, and the other boys that were Johnny's friends.
Mm-hmm.
They were all out of show business.
Yeah.
For
totally.
decades.
For decades.
You know, it's like, yeah. And so it's really it's a rare thing that's truly unique in media, I think.
I do too.
I can't think of any other example of anything that.
Oh, he was. I was trying
Pony
to
Boy?
remember.
Was he Pony Boy?
I think he was Pony Boy. Fun fact: my old friend from Franklin Square, Alana, is married to Ralph Macchio's cousin.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how I know he was like out of work for like a while.
She must be experiencing a real revival in her life right now as being married to Ralph Macchio's cousin.
Yeah.
It's like for a while that wasn't that big of a deal. And Cobra Kai came out. Once again, being married to Ralph Macchio's cousin is a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. I wouldn't want to have that.
Don't worry, I'm not Ralph Macchio's cousin.
I'm glad. Although he seems like a completely delightful guy. Like I would, she's probably like, if we were still friends, you would be able to meet him.
I'm Ralph Macchio's mother.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
You are. You have her essence.
I have two children that I've mothered. I've mothered births through my butthole. One of them is my cat, and one of them is Ralph Macchio. I didn't tell you about Ralph. I guess you could say I was lying by omission, but it just didn't cross my mind.
Wow, that's even more important than cousin. Like butt baby? That's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He seems like a cool dude. Whatever.
It was part of my feminist phase when I was really into giving birth. I was just sick and tired of women having all the glory for giving birth.
Oh.
Just like, this is bullshit. It's not fair.
It isn't. It's not.
It's like, I could give birth too. And I did. Gave birth to Pee-Pee, to Ralph Macchio, to a giraffe.
My sister loves Pee-Pee.
Also, Angela Merkel's sister.
Angela Merkel's sister? Who's that?
One of my butt babies.
Oh, is she like
I forget her
have
name.
I met her?
I didn't take very good care of her when she was little.
Aww.
I sent her out to Germany to live in an orphanage. She said she wanted to become sister of a chancellor someday.
Oh, well, that's a place to go for that.
Yeah. I said, we don't have a chancellor here.
No.
She said, how about vice chancellor? I said, we don't have that either.
No. Good. So Germany it is.
Yep.
Sounds like that was her destiny.
All right. I mean, I said I didn't take very good care of her. She was driving the bus the whole way. She came out of my butt saying, "Das ist verboten."
Did your grandma ever say that to you?
My mom and dad used to say this. Mom and dad used to speak in French and German periodically.
That is so great.
Because they lived in France and Germany.
Yeah. That's like SI though. Like my I think my grandma La Pelosa is an ISFJ, and she always used to, chat in Italian to my great aunt, my Aunt Mildred, and she'd be like, she would always tell me not to listen when she was cursing. Like, of course I'm going to be listening, like, Bafangul, like, of course I was going to be listening to the words that were curses the most. Hello? Oh, you're basically telling me to.
Here we go. I'm going to transfer this bong rip to everybody out there today.
Me too. Those coughs are pretty bad.
So,
that's a nice one.
If you partook of Rachel's transubstantiated bong rip, it was a little coffee. If you partook of mine, it was a little less coffee.
Oh my gosh.
It was still a little coffee.
I'm so coffee.
I also like the fact that I think, Ralph Macchio's mother from the original movie is in season 1 or 2 or something.
Yeah, she's there too.
They go to the same. In fact, in season 1, they go to the same. They're called dingbats.
Yes.
Same dingbat that was in Karate Kid one where Ralph Macchio's character lived. And Karma's Pimp, do you remember that one time I played Among Us with Eric and people from the stream?
Do you miss that time, Diamond? Diamond?
Ay. Everybody wants to fight. Everybody was kung fu fighting. As fast as lightning.
So I believe the gracious gift that my aunt and uncle gave me to Starbucks, I am going to definitely use when we see Delilah. And also, I'm just going to give it to her after that, like whatever is on there, because we don't go to Starbucks, right?
No, we don't.
So
it's a good idea.
She would use, it's better in her hands.
First of all, the reason we don't go to Starbucks, the reason I don't go to Starbucks, I think it's kind of the same reason you go to Starbucks, is I just don't like their shit. I don't like their coffee.
Yeah.
I don't like their drinks very much.
They're so sweet.
I just don't like their stuff. I'd much rather get like a milkshake from Baskin Robbins.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Their coffee's too strong. It makes me feel upset stomach.
I used to go there for free Wi-Fi. That's why I would go there. I would get like a caramel macchiato.
Anytime like I'm hungry and I go through Starbucks and get something, I feel like I grabbed something at the airport.
Yeah, it is airport food. You're so right. It always is. I never liked whatever. People like it. And Delilah loves it. She used to work there too. So I would like to give it to her because I think that she'll put it best use. And then like when we see her, I'll get the pink drink that she suggests that I buy. We'll get pink drinks. Celebrate.
I like your name, Rigoron.
Rigoron. I like that too.
It's a cool
grounds.
Name. Wawa has the best coffee. I'm not sure what Wawa is. As far as like strong coffee shops, I like Pete's. Peets.
I want to go there sometime with you.
Okay. Starbucks uses crap beans and just roasts the hell out of them. That's why it seems so strong. I'm not saying it's. When I say it's too strong, I mean it makes my stomach feel upset.
Acidity. That means because it's strong coffee.
Yeah, I don't know what strong I mean there, but just
the acid part of it. You know.
Yeah, it's very acidic. It makes my stomach upset.
It's strong stuff. Even my mom, like who drinks her coffee black like every day, like she tried Starbucks and she didn't like the coffee and she didn't like the syrup that they put in like for flavoring. She likes hazelnut. Not a fan. She's not a fan. She likes Dunkin' or she likes McDonald's coffee the best actually.
Yeah, it's possible to mix tea and coffee together. I tried it. It's pretty caffeinated, though.
Is it?
Yeah. If you make coffee with hot tea instead of with water, it doesn't taste bad.
I want to try it. I want to get hyped up.
But it's pretty strong, like caffeine wise.
I used to drink espresso.
I mean, we could certainly have a small cup of that. We should try that. We should do that.
We should.
So what I need to do that then is, first, it's pretty easy to do. You just make a pot of coffee without any coffee in it.
Yeah, so it's just water?
So it's just water, and then you put it back in. And you put your tea bags in there. Do we have any tea bags?
Yeah, we do. The Earl Grey ones my sister put in.
Oh, where?
In the cookie
in the cookie
jar.
thing? Oh yeah, those are actual tea bags.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just thought that was a label.
Yep.
Those are actual tea bags.
Yep, they're tea bags.
It's so dumb to me. How did I not realize those were tea bags? It's like, so these are Earl Grey cookies, right? And it says Earl Grey here, so I just thought, oh, I guess that's just the label she put on it or something for her Earl Grey cookies.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I only know that they're tea bags because she told me that she was going to put them in there. So, anyway. I'm not sure I would have noticed. Hi, PNP. Oh, Mommy loves the PNP so much. Yeah, girl, get it. What a beauty.
So, I guess what I'll do is I'll put these 2 tea bags in. I'll just put one maybe. I'll put it right here where the water drips down. I'll just drip through the tea bag. And then after that, I'll put coffee in and then we'll put it back through. I guess Jeffrey didn't ever show up or anything. I don't think they called or anything either. Okay, so you've got a new 3-chamber bong, and you feel so NI. The more chambers, the more NI, and the less TE, it makes it impossible to clean.
It's 421. I missed 420, so I'm gonna smoke.
Waffle House has good coffee, in your opinion? I agree with you, John Kramer. We don't have Waffle House where I live, but I've traveled enough that I've eaten at a fair number of Waffle Houses. They go out as far as Arizona, but they don't. As far as I know, there are no Waffle Houses in California. But there's one in Arizona. I went to Waffle House when I was visiting Horsemumbler.
Oh, and that's when that exchange of money happened.
Right.
Well, like when I lived in North Carolina, they had them there.
I like them. I wish they had them in California. I'm a big fan of Waffle Houses. Why they don't have them in It's probably California's crazy freaking taxes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Like a place like Waffle House, it would seem to have a fairly thin profit margin based on the fact that their food's not super expensive. They're open 24 hours a day. They've always got at least 2 people in there, usually at least 3 employees. And it's kind of like, working class. Working class eat before your 6 a.m. shift starts, kind of thing, you know?
Oh, it's the water, doy. Adoy. What was I looking for? I don't know.
What's going on here? Sometimes it do this and then sometimes it doesn't do this.
What?
Like spill
over? I have no idea.
Stupid thing. Hi, Matthew Alistair. You need a transportation to bong rip? Well, you're in luck because today I am in the official business of transportation bong rips.
Ooh, the business.
Mm-hmm. All right, Peter. You got some of this gross kind of food. Someone's got to eat it.
Yeah, someone does. Is he pecking?
It's basically like, no, I don't want that.
He's a pretty picky peacock as well. Now he's looking at me. What happened to your feathers around your neck? Are you molting over there now?
fine. He doesn't like that.
I don't know.
Nobody will eat the most expensive cat food I've ever bought. None of the cats. Neither Trouble nor PP.
No.
I don't know about the orange cat, but probably the orange cat wouldn't eat it either.
I don't know.
And the peacock won't eat it either.
Yeah.
So why is this cat food so fucking expensive?
Exactly.
It was Garbage-eddon in your neighborhood the other day. You had Garbedon, Garbagedon. What you got to this stuff, Susie? Because my Pee-Pee likes fish. She doesn't like chicken. She doesn't like whatever. It's biologically appropriate cat food.
She definitely doesn't like whatever.
I don't know why I thought that she was gonna like it. It says biologically appropriate. That usually means, I guess they're not gonna like it or whatever. But I was like, okay, well, it says it's made with fresh, whole, wild, and sustainably caught fish: mackerel, herring, flounder, redfish, monkfish, and silver hake. So I thought, well, my cat likes fish. My cat really only eats whitefish or tuna. But this, I guess, has too many non-white fish and non-tuna. My cat does not like salmon. She does not like chicken. She does not like turkey. She does not like beef.
She does not like grain either. Anything with a grain in it, she's not a huge fan of. Like right now,
She just likes whitefish flavor or tuna. And that's it. Tuna is her favorite, but it's hard to find the tuna one.
I don't know why.
The Purina one, like the good kind of Purina tuna fish one that's no grain, it's really hard to find. It sells out right away.
Yeah, it does.
I know it has nothing to do with nutrition, Matthew Alistair. I used to give the cat wet food as well, or even canned tuna sometimes or whatever. But the thing is, the cat stopped eating the wet food. It didn't matter what kind of wet food I got. Even if I got...
Yeah, she would nibble at it, and then it's sitting there.
Fancy Feast or, some expensive kind of wet food, she just was like Rachel said, she just nibble at it and leave it sitting there. And so as a consequence, I just stopped buying wet food because if she's not going to eat it, why even bother getting it?
Yeah.
And she's like, she makes it very clear when she's not happy with the food. She gives me a look.
She came on. Did you see? Did you hear her today? She brought me over to the food. She looks at me. She goes, yeah. And I'm like, I know. We got to get you food.
Of course, we have 3 different kinds of cat food. We've got a bag of chicken cat food. We've got the big bag of bench canned cat food. My dad got us. And then we've got this super expensive, biologically appropriate cat food. So...
what is that?
We just can't resist. I mean, we have no defenses against the cat's meows. When the cat conveys to us that she's not happy with the food,
I could tell right away.
We can tough it out for a day or two of trying to make her eat the wrong food, and then it's like, fuck it, let's just go get us.
She brought me over to show me.
I know, she did me too. She didn't really bring me over. She ate the chicken, okay, that I put out there for her, some of it, because she was hungry, I guess.
Yeah.
And when she came over here, she looked at herself and she looked at me. I shit you not, she looked at me like this.
I could see it. She gives me.
What is that shit? What is that shit you put over there in my bowl? Who the fuck do you think you are?
That's totally her. When I walk into the bedroom too much, or I'm in and out, and she's been sleeping, she gives me a.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care, Pee-Pee. I got stuff to do.
Well, and then last night when I went to put this thing down, she was sitting right here. And I said, "Baby, listen, I gotta put the couch down." And she opened her eyes. And she looked at me, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll put this one down." I did. I put this one down. She didn't move an inch. I was like, I gotta put this down now, sweetie. And I started to move her, and she's like, "Wow, what are you doing?" Like, come on, man. Be
She's
a little
so
cooperative.
entitled.
Yeah.
She really is.
If a cat doesn't eat a certain food as a kitten, it will register as inedible to them as an adult. Well, she ate a lot of tuna as a kitten, for sure. She ate that is true. When she was a kitten, she ate a substantial amount of canned tuna, just straight up canned tuna, in water, just like people eat. She liked that best. In fact, because we had multiple cats, but she was my favorite cat, and
Why was she your favorite?
oh, why was she my favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was my cat.
Oh. How many other? So the other cats, you were just waiting for people to.
No, the other cats were Kimberly's cats.
I forget about that.
Yeah. So when I fed the cats, I always gave Pee the juice half of the tuna.
Ooh.
So when you scoop out the tuna onto 2 plates, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some juice.
Yes, there is.
But all the cats want the juice, the tuna water that goes. They want to lick that up first. I always made sure that Pee got the juice plate.
Aww, she knows how special she is.
Yeah.
She's a very important kitty friend. Can I show you a dress that I like? I know you could keep, but
Sure. We should end the stream because we got something happening in 28 minutes.
okay. The Zoom.
I'm dying of thirst. I need to go get a regular water or something, a couple waters.
Yeah, I could go for one as well.
And then have a few minutes before we start our stream. I mean, our Zoom thing. Okay, bye everybody. Love you all. See you later. Don't forget to eat plain cheese. Yes, Octavia? Or is it by Eric? I see. 2.